Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class, part of a programming platform we are developing for our YouTube channel, Prabhupada TV. And I wanted to remind everyone that you are being recorded. As you know, when you come on, there should be a message that appears on the screen that enables you to know that whatever you say on this particular program as part of our TV network, Prabhupada TV, is being captured, and also that it will be streamed live on Facebook, and it is being streamed live as well on YouTube. So anyone who is watching can also take clips from these broadcasts, and they could also repost them. Whatever section is being spoken can be reposted by them on the internet. So this is something that we should be aware of, because we're doing this to enable people in the future who are not able to attend the program on the scheduled times that we're operating here in Eastern Canada, and it's 10 a.m. in the morning. On the West Coast, it's 7 a.m. in the morning. So it gives people globally, and remember, this is a global broadcast. It's not a local broadcast. It's a global broadcast, and therefore it covers many countries. And we have guests from many different places that are attending the classes. These classes are patterned after the principles of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is based on the gathering of devotees. In the case of the speaking of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it was being discussed between the sages of Naimisharanya and Sutta Goswami. So this particular setting is a setting that's similar in a sense to the Bhagavad Gita, in that it's being produced for the benefit of not only the people that are present in the conversation, but for the benefit of all of humanity. Excuse me. And this is the idea of this. Excuse me. This is the idea of the association of devotees. You come together with the intention of benefiting yourself and also trying to help others get out of the entanglement of birth and death, which is everyone's journey in time. For one who is born, death is certain. And for one who has died, birth is certain. But for Krishna conscious people, they realize that through the process of hearing and chanting, in association with devotees, they can reawaken their dormant Krishna consciousness, their dormant understanding of their eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is possible by the mercy of the pure devotee of Krishna and his followers. It is not a one-man show. It is based on group understanding, groups of people coming together. And it also states in the Bhagavatam that the devotees take great pleasure in discussing Krishna consciousness together in association with others, like-minded people. That is the idea of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We have certain rules that we follow. Very simply, we do not read from the adulterated, edited books that have been that are being currently distributed in other organizations. We read only from the original books given by our Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, the Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And we not only do that, we do not accept anyone else as Guru at this particular time in history as Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru except Śrīla Prabhupāda. This is a fundamental basis of our platform that we operate on. You can see the principles on Prabhupada Disciples Association on Facebook. If you're not a member, you're invited to join us there at Prabhupada Disciples Association. We get quite a few visits a week from our views from other people. This week we had 13,000 views of our posts. 13,000. That's our average right now every week. So it is one way that we're planning or we're doing to spread Krishna consciousness. We have multiple plans that we're implementing besides this class, for example, or discussion on Krishna consciousness. It's not a one point platform. There's multiple activities that we're engaged in to spread Krishna consciousness, both locally and globally. So we welcome people that are joining us or attending our classes that are interested to be in touch with us and share some understanding of what they want to do to help us serve our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. We're going to move forward with the class with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu delivering it today. We want to thank those that are attending on a regular basis for participating in this part of the program, our preaching program. It's greatly appreciated, and we hope you continue on to increase your devotional service moving forward for your benefit and the benefit of others. Vinkat Prabhu, please, if we could have the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami to Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami to Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Cheva Narottamam. Naram Cheva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author. That verse is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 4. Also in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself, it describes the great potency of hearing the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 17. Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantasto Yabadrani Vidunuti Surit Satam. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, thus cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So welcome everybody to this class. Today we'll be reading from the original 1962 Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the unrevised, non-adulterated version. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 1, text number 14. All English synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement, and the greatest exponent of Krishna consciousness all over the world. Apanna samsritim ghoram yannama vivasho grunam tata sadya vimucchita yadviviti swayam vayam. Apanna, being entangled, samsritim, in the hurdle of birth and death, ghoram, too complicated, yan, what, nama, the absolute name, vivasha, unconsciously, grinam, chanting, tata, from that, sadhya, at once, vimuchyati, gets freedom. Yat, that which, vibeti, fears. Swayam, personally. Bhayam, fear itself. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Living beings who are entangled in the hurdle of birth and death, even though too complicated, can get freedom at once, even by unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared even by personified fear. Purport by His Divine Grace. Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the supreme controller of everything, and as such, is feared by all others. There is nobody in the creation who is not afraid of the rage of the Almighty. Great asuras like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, and others, who were the most powerful amongst all living beings, all were killed by the personality of Godhead. And the Almighty Vasudeva has empowered his name also similarly, like his personal self. And there is no difference in the identity of everything that is related with him. It is stated herein that the name of Krishna is feared of even by the fear personified. This indicates that the name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. And therefore, the name Krishna is as much powerful as Lord Krishna himself. There is no difference at all. Anyone, therefore, can take advantage of the holy name of Lord Sri Krishna, even in the midst of greatest danger. Transcendental name of Krishna, even if he's uttered in unconscious state of mind and forced by circumstances, can help the reciter in getting freedom from the hurdle of birth and death. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, Śrīla Prabhupāda, who has opened my eyes from the darkness of ignorance with a torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Bhaktisiddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Devachatarine Bhagavad Bhandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataham Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Rup Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this verse is very important. We see this is a description of the potency of chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, the name of God. In all different religious scriptures, even in the scriptures of the Mlechas and Yavanas, there is recommendation for glorifying God. We see this in the Christian scriptures. We see this in the Jewish scriptures. We see this in the Muslim, Islamic scriptures. Everybody is familiar The Muslims, they have what is called the namaz, where they pay their respectful obeisances to God, to Allah, 5 times a day. That is good, to offer respectful obeisances to the Lord. Here we see from the Vedic scriptures, what is the effect of this chanting? It is described, living beings who are entangled in a hurdle of birth and death, even though too complicated, can get freedom at once, even by unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared, even by the personified fear. We see in the Sanskrit text, the word is vibhasha, unconsciously. So another word that is important is sadhya. Sadhya in Sanskrit means at once, immediately. We see in the Padma Purana, there is description of the potency of the name of Krishna. And one characteristic, the name Abhinatvam Nama Naminoho. The Nama, the name of Krishna, and Nami, the person Krishna. Abhinna. Abhinna means non-different. It is the same. It is not that one should make a description, well, there is God and his name, and that is different. No, no. God is manifested through his sacred name, his holy name, his divine name. Actually, there's an interesting story how in 1977 in Vrindavan, one disciple of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur came to visit Prabhupada. And he had compiled a book called The Divine Name, which was a compilation of different Sanskrit verses from Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Puranas, the Vedas, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata, which was describing the potency of the name of Krishna. Very nice book, and Prabhupada wanted that book to be published. Very interesting. So this text appeared in that book, because I remember Prabhupada looking through the book, and he raised his head, oh, apanna samskritim goram. Prabhupada says, very important. We see in this purport also that Prabhupada is describing towards the end of the purport, the name Krishna is as much powerful as Lord Krishna himself. There is no difference at all. Anyone, therefore, can take advantage of the holy name of Lord Sri Krishna, even in the midst of greatest dangers. Also in the Padma Purana, it is described that even if one chants the name of Krishna with faith, shraddhaya helayava, or with joking, still the benefit. Bhriguvara taranama, that this name of Krishna will deliver you. Even though it is done not seriously. Of course, one should try to chant seriously, avoiding offenses, doing it with paying attention, with concentration, one will get the greatest benefit. But if it's in some circumstance, one does chant, which is not serious or joking, still he gets the transcendental benefit. Very, very special. It is also described, Madhura Madhuranam, Mangala Mangalanam. It is the sweetest of all sweetest things. And it is the most sacred of all sacred things. Most auspicious. Very important. Because sometimes people say, well, why do you chant this Hare Krishna mantra? For one thing, it is recommended. We all know Śrīla Prabhupāda, when he came to America in 1966, he made that record on chanting the Maha Mantra, where Śrīla Prabhupāda is describing the meaning of the word Hare, Krishna, Rama, the benefit of the chanting. At one point, he says, there's no need to understand the language. Even a child can do it. Even a dog can take part in it. That is quite amazing. Quite amazing how Śrīla Prabhupāda is describing the great potency of chanting. It is very pleasurable. Why is that? Well, for one thing, it's non-different than Krishna. The name Krishna, the person Krishna is non-different. And as one becomes purified, even in the beginning, in the Nam Aparada stage, As one becomes purified of offenses, gradually one would get a taste. That is one of the greatest gifts of the Acharya, Śrīla Prabhupada. People sometimes will bring up the point, well, Prabhupada is not here. He's not physically here. Well, he's here and not here. For those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, he is here. It's like Krishna is also not here. According to the Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata, he was shot in the foot by a hunter near Dwarka 5,000 years ago. Prabhupada will explain in one letter that this pastime was arranged by Krishna to bewilder the atheist. It's just like even Jesus Christ, he was put on the cross, crucified. But yet, a couple of days later, they could not find his body. He resurrected. There was even one conversation where Prabhupada says, how could he not be spiritual if he was resurrected? He's completely spiritual. So the name of Krishna in the same way is completely transcendental. That's why Prabhupada one time told the devotees to chant carefully. All of you may have heard that one tape of Śrīla Prabhupada where Prabhupada is chastising a disciple. He interrupts the japa chanting. He says, sit properly, because the tendency is to be lazy. So one should sit properly. One should hear nicely. One should hear all the syllables nicely. And one should educate himself as to the great potency of the chanting. How many times have we heard Śrīla Prabhupada describing the meaning of the word of Krishna, the meaning of the potency of Krishna, what is the effect of the chanting, what are the 10 offenses? It's interesting how Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, in his purport on Brahma Samhita, Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. In the purport of the first verse of the 5th chapter of Brahma Samhita, he explains the word Krishna. And one of the explanation he gives is from a text from the Adi Purana, a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, where Krishna explained, Nam Nam Mukyatanmam Nama Krishna Kyam Me Parantapa. Of all my innumerable names, this name Krishna is my principal name. It is the greatest name. There's so many, just like there's the Vishnu Sahasranam, the Lakshmi Sahasranam, 1,000 name of Lord Vishnu. There's 1,000 names of Lakshmi, 1,000 name of Balaram, 1,000 names of Radharani. There's so many different Sahasranama, or 1,000 name glorification. So the greatest name, the most potent name is given by Krishna himself. That is the name of Krishna. We see in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, Mahatmanastu mam parta devim prakriti masritaha. That great Mahatmas take shelter of that spiritual energy. And what will be the benefit? People may say, well, why do you keep chanting? Somebody recently asked me, well, if you can't chant once and you become all purified, why not just leave it at that? Well, because we're conditioned. Because conditioned living beings do not remember Krishna by nature. They're conditioned. They're subject to fallacy. Therefore, the recommendation is given in these shastras. Dvapariyera janera Vishnu pancharatrestu kevale kalo tu nama matrena pujyate bhagavan harihi. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Śrīla Prabhupada explains, he quotes from Madhvacharya from the Narayana Samhita, and he says that in the age of Dwapara Yuga, Dwapariyera Janara Vishnu Pancharatrestu Kevala, the mode of worship was to worship Narayana with very exalted deity worship. Kalo tu nama matre, in this age of Kali, it is the chanting of the name. Pujyate Bhagavan Hari, one should worship Lord Hari. Bhagavan Lord Hari, with this chanting. This is the recommended system in this age. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the 12th canto, when Maharaj Parikshit was talking with Shukadeva Goswami, giving the conclusion of the whole book, he's explaining Kaler dosha nidhi rajan astiyako mahan gunaha, that this age of Kali, Maharaj Parikshit, is an ocean of fault. Dosha nidhi. Dosha means fault. Nidhi means ocean. Then a person may say, well, if it's an ocean of faults, how are we going to get out of here? Kaler dosha nidhi rajan astiyako mahan gunaha. But there is one great quality. What is that? Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramrajet. Simply by chanting once the name of Krishna, Mukta Sangha Paramrajet, one will become liberated. We see also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna described Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi, that this chanting of japa, just like every day, especially for those who are initiated devotees, we chant on our beats, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we chant 16 rounds. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, of all sacrifices and the chanting of japa, there are so many descriptions like that. So today I was going to read a few comments by Śrīla Prabhupāda from a lecture that he gave in New Vrindavan in June 10th, 1969. And he deals with this topic of this chanting. Prabhupada explains that for those who are Paramahamsas, those who have understood the essence of this cosmic manifestation, they are not interested in such literature. On the other hand, it is said, Tadvag Visarga Ajanataga Viplavaha. Then there's the commentary, Vinapi Pada Chaturyam Bhagavadyashaha Pradhanam Vachaha. Sridhar Swami gives note that there may not be any poetic, metaphorical, or analogical ornamental language, but Vinapi Pada Chaturyam. Pada Chaturyam. Pada means composition. In every language, there are rules and regulations for composing poetry or prose, grammatical, rhetorical. So even such knowledge, even without such knowledge, Pada Chaturyam Bhagavat Yasha Pradhanam, just like we chant Hare Krishna. So we're not training our students anyway about musical science, that we have to chant in this way or that way, we have to dance in this way or that way, without any musical knowledge, without any poetic understanding. Even a child can take part in it, and he becomes immediately absorbed in ecstasy. Why? This is because we are chanting the glories of the Lord. So it does not require any artificial musical knowledge or dancing knowledge. Out of your own ecstasy, you will dance, you will chant. You don't require to study. Just like our playing of mridanga. Nobody has gone to an expert mridanga player to learn it. Whatever I play, I sing. I never studied under some expert teacher. But by practice chanting, it may be melodious, it may be very nice or not. That doesn't matter. We are not concerned about that, whether it is appealing to the people or not. It will appeal, there is no doubt about it. But we don't require to divert our attention on these things. Simply because there is glorification of the Lord, it will be palatable. Just like Parikshit Maharaj said, Bhavo Shadashrota Mano Bhiramat Kawattama Shloka Gunanubardhanat Virajeta Vinapashugnyat, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:1-4. Parikshit Maharaj, when he was hearing about Bhagavata from Shukadeva Goswami, he expressed his experience. Oh, what is that? Now, Nivritta Tarsher Upagyamanat, this chanting or understanding of the pastimes of Krishna, Uttama Shloka Gunanuvadat, whatever we are reading in the Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, or we are chanting the subject matter, is glorifying the Lord, who is called Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka. Shloka means verse, and Uttama means transcendental or very nice. So whenever we offer some prayer, read some literature, Bhagavata, the verses are composed in very nice words and systematically. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, you'll find every shloka, the topmost literary composition, topmost, full of meaning, full of philosophy. In every line you will find. So Parikshit Maharaj says that this transcendental vibration, Uttama Shloka Gunanuvadat, Gunanuvadat means glorifying the transcendental quality. When we say that Krishna or God is Nirguna, Nirguna means quality. So when we say, that is explained in Bhagavad Gita, Nirguna Guna Bhoktricha, he is Nirguna, but he is also enjoyer of qualities. What does it mean? That Krishna is not within the material qualities of goodness, passion, or ignorance. All his qualities are transcendental, not different from him. Therefore, his glorification of the transcendental qualities can be chanted who are already in a transcendental platform. Others cannot. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj said, Nivrita Tarshehe. Nivrita means already finished, completely finished. What is that finished? Trishna. Trishna means hankering. One who has finished is material hankering. They can chant this transcendental glorification of the Lord. Others cannot. Just like in our Sankirtan movement, you are taking so much ecstasy, pleasure. So others will say, what these people are doing, crazy fellow. They're dancing, trancing, and beating some drum. They'll feel like that because their hankering for material enjoyment is not finished. Therefore, Nivrita. Actually, this transcendental name of Krishna or God can be chanted in liberated stage. Therefore, we prescribe while chanting there are 3 stages. The offensive stage, liberated stage, and actually on the platform of love of God stage. That is the perfectional stage by chanting. In the beginning, we chant an offensive stage, the 10 kinds of offenses. But that does not mean that we shall not chant. Even there are offenses, we shall go on chanting. That chanting will help me to get out of all offenses. Of course, we must take care that we may not commit offenses. Therefore, this list of 10 kinds of offenses are given. We should try to avoid. And as soon as it is offenseless chanting, then it is liberated stage. That is liberated stage. And after liberated stage, the chanting will be so pleasing because that is on the transcendental platform that actual love of Krishna and God would be relished. But the same thing, the chanting, in the offensive stage, the chanting, and the liberated stage is chanting. But in the mature stage, just like Rupa Goswami used to say, what shall I chant with one tongue and what shall I hear with 2 ears? If millions of ears I had, if millions of tongue I had, then I could chant and hear because they are in liberated stage. So this is a very, very important points that Śrīla Prabhupada is raising about the potency of chanting and the transcendental benefit of chanting. Sometimes the question is asked, well, sometimes I chant, but there are difficulties, there are problems, so what should I do? In other places in the Padma Purana, it is described, Bhumo Skalita Padanam, Bhumere Bhavalambanam, Tvayi Jata Paradanam, Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu. Lord Krishna is guest as Prabhu. That just like if one tries to go up a slippery stairway, by trying again and again and again, eventually one will be able to get there. So similarly, even if one has offenses in the beginning, simply by trying again and again and again, one will gradually get rid of the offenses. Of course, one should try to avoid the offenses, but this is the recommendation of the Padma Purana. So I will shut up and let some more intelligent, insightful devotees raise questions, and hopefully we can have a very productive discussion. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, for your presentation of the Bhagavatam this morning. I wanted to continue on with the discussion by reading from this book. Here it is. I'm fortunate enough, I've had this book as well for 35 years, 40 years. The glorification of the holy name. And we can review the offenses in chanting. In other words, if a person is growing a garden, along with the garden, and we grow a garden here at the ashram in Hamilton. We have a large garden, our front yard and backyard. But the biggest problem with growing a garden are weeds, because the weeds will kill the plant. So the same analogy is given, or example is given in terms of practicing devotional service. And we've seen this in our experience over 53 years, that people take up the process, but they allow the weeds of offense to grow along with their creeper. And if not careful, it will kill that creeper. So I'll read the offenses. The offenses against chanting of the holy name are as follows. Number 1, to blaspheme the devotees. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the propagating the holy name of the Lord. It's the first offense. Of course, some people will say, if you criticize someone, like in the case of the ISKCON movement, in our posts, we point out various mistakes in what is being carried on in that organization. For example, like the changing of the books, editing them unnecessarily and against the orders of our spiritual master, Śrīla Prabhupāda. That's not blasphemy. That is a correction, a fact, not a fault finding. Fault finding is an horrific tendency that many people have, to fault find others. So one must be very careful. Instead of fault finding, we're fact finding. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma. 2, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali Kali or Durga Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. It should not be taken that because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful activities, Prabhupada says. One may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone could take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, Prabhupada says here in this purport, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore is better not to instruct them in this matter. And the final offense: do not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. This is from the Nectar of Devotion, page 71 and 72. So this particular book is a very difficult book to get. We're fortunate to have one. Maybe in the future we can publish this book for everyone's benefit. It's very, very, very beautiful. I was talking to some new devotees, new bhaktas, and yesterday, and I was explaining to them that Prabhupada has told us that the means and the end in Krishna consciousness are the same. The means and the end. This is called non-dual, just like the holy name, for example, here in this purport. The name of Krishna and the sound of his holy name are non-different. Just like, for example, water. Prabhupada used the example of water. You can chant water, 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 but it won't quench your thirst. You can chant on and on all you want, but it's not there because there's a duality between the name and the form. A duality. The name of an object in the material world and the form of the object are separate. But this is different in the transcendental world of Krishna consciousness. The name and the form are the same. They're non-dual, just like devotional service, for example. The path of devotional service is exactly the same in the material world as in the spiritual world. The difference is the circumstances that you're in. Devotional service, whether it's performed here in this world or it's performed in Goloka Vrindavan, is the same. It's non-different. So the goal of Krishna consciousness is to what? Go back to home, back to Godhead. But if someone takes up the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya, which we are doing here, we're taking up this mission, and it's a difficult mission. Look at how strong at any moment these governments could
Vishwakarma Prabhu, your audio is freezing.
So, Danger. Oh, okay. Is it on?
No, it looks like the connection is slow.
Finished? Still off?
Yeah, it's still freezing.
You should continue on the discussion.
As I was describing before, Śrīla Prabhupada in this particular lecture keeps on describing. In one place, he describes how the chanting is the most scientific method. He says, therefore, we have to practice Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this way, unconsciously or consciously, if we simply can remember Hare Krishna, then our life is successful. This is a most scientific method. Simply if we can remember, it does not require how far we are educated, how far we are scholar. No. Ante Narayana Smriti, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 2:16. Itabas Janma Safalyam. Then there is, so Parishit Maharaj was to die within 7 days. Therefore, he Shukadev Goswami, out of his own accord, came because he knew Parikshit Maharaj was a great king and great devotee. He's from his childhood. It is described just like this child is playing with deity. Parikshit Maharaj used to play with deities. We had also the opportunity from our father to play with deities. So these are great opportunities to get ideas, good ideas, and training. Really, this is the training, this association. Simply by associating with these members, this chanting, regulative chanting, dancing, and taking prasadam, he's being educated. Highly educated. Tanmanye aditamuttamam. One who has learned about the devotional service, then is to be understood highly educated. That is the recommendation by Prahlad Maharaj. Prabhupada goes on. So actually, we don't require any other education. This association will give anyone who will come, either child or old man. It doesn't matter. He'll be highly educated. But because we are in this material world, therefore we have to give some education. But that is secondary. Real education, this. But like you are doing all rising early in the morning, Mangal, Arati, Kirtan, and then these regulative principles, this is real education. It does not require any academic education. It is simply practice. Tanmanye aditamuttamam. That is Prahlad Maharaj's recommendation. So in this way, this was from a lecture in New Vrindavan on June 10th, 1969. Śrīla Prabhupada goes on and explains so many important concepts in this lecture, but the principal concept is to focus on the chanting of Hare Krishna. Any other remarks, questions? Hare Krishna.
We had Jiva
Yes,
Goswami Prabhu.
Jiva Goswami Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. My wife and I, in anticipation of this gathering of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, were reflecting on the different experiences we'd had in going to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class in the different temples that we've attended and lived at. And we were describing how the enthusiasm of the speaker is critical. Not just the enthusiasm, but the understanding of the literature, the understanding of the verse, and the corresponding support that it requires in order for persons like ourselves to really understand and embrace what's being spoken about. And there's such a dramatic difference between the Prabhupada Disciples Association and their presentation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, and what we had experienced prior with other speakers, that it's like, you know, we look forward to this class. We look forward to it. We study beforehand. We talk about it. We look at the verses. And so to be really frank here, anybody who is missing this class, missing this discussion, missing this association is really missing out, because Prabhupada Disciples Association has created something very, very vital. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that are involved in creating these classes, supporting these classes, coming to these classes, and listening with attention. And the last thing I want to say is, Bhaktivedanta Thakur talked about chanting. He said it is also offensive to be inattentive while chanting. And this is the biggest challenge I have, is to be attentive while I'm chanting. So I would like you to comment and tell me how I can have better attention toward my chanting.
Well, it is a simple process. Prabhupada repeats the same concept in many of his purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that the chanting should be done with proper attention. Because as we know, in Kali Yuga, there are so many disturbances. Just like every day through the newspapers, radio, television, computers, internet, there is a constant wave of Maya information, of topics relating to this world. And Prabhupada one time gave a very interesting story, how his Guru Maharaj had a discussion with a very great Pandit, because during the manifested presence of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he was publishing 2 newspapers. One was from Nadia Prakash, and another one from Calcutta, where he was preaching there. So one very great Pandit came to him and says, how can you have so much information in these newspapers? So much information about the spiritual. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur replied that the spiritual world is so much greater than the material world. There is constant activity there. There is constant glorification of Krishna. So when we have 2 newspapers, that is very little. It can be done 24 hours a day. Of course, this is the vision of a Paramamsa. Same thing with Śrīla Prabhupāda. He was 24 hours a day engaged. So the whole idea is to engage the mind, and to seriously engage the mind in hearing the name, to hearing the vibration of the name, and to think, but because the name of Krishna, the name, the qualities, the form, the activities, it's all related. Just like we see, we have the Krishna book. The Krishna book is a description, the Krishna book is a description of all the activities of Krishna. So while one is chanting Hare Krishna, one can think of the activities of Krishna. Just like in this part of the world around here, there's a lot of wild animals in the forest. In India, there's also wild animals like monkeys and all kinds of wild animals all around the world. So one has to be careful. If one goes in the forest or close to the forest, that he doesn't put himself in a difficult position. So it's the same thing with the chanting. We have the chanting, but there's so much help. There's the name of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, the activities of Krishna, the form of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, and all these different literatures that are given by the great acharyas. And by remembering those, it will be easier to pay attention. But even if one has difficulty, as I quoted that verse from the Padma Purana, that simply by trying to get up a stairway, a slippery stairway again and again, eventually one will reach the top. So by chanting, even though there's problem, chanting again and again and praying to Krishna, please engage me in your service, like that will help. Hare Krishna. I think
Hare
that
Krishna. Thank you,
Vishwakarma Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Vishwakarma Prabhu, you had some comment?
Yes. Am I on?
Yes,
Speaker?
we can hear
Thank
you.
I apologize for my internet defect in our program here. Jiva Goswami raised a very interesting point, which was discussed yesterday with one of our bhaktas here in Hamilton, Bhakta Joe Felice. And he was saying to me that he has been going through the different speeches that are present online. It seems that there's an expansion of this this style of programming taking place throughout the world. Lots of people, you have a computer and software, you can make these programs. And he was explaining to me the difference he saw in our group meeting, the Prabhupada Disciples Association group meetings with all of the God brothers and sisters here, and these other groups that are coming up, that they don't mention Prabhupada in their talks. It seems to be something that they avoid for some reason or other. So he mentioned about a sannyasi in England. He's a new sannyasi. I don't have his name offhand. So I had watched one of his speeches out of curiosity, and I didn't hear him mention Prabhupada's name once in the talk. His main focus was explaining how you enter into the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. What is the way to do it? And he was speaking from that platform of, I would say, great spiritual advancement, but not a mention of how he got his so-called realization or understanding of Krishna consciousness. And here in this particular group, we are sourcing everything on the basis of Prabhupada's words, on the basis of Prabhupada's position as Jagat Guru. And that's what my friend Arjuna, Bhakta Joe, was saying to me, was that this group of Prabhupada disciples, he looks forward to the classes, and he doesn't want to miss the classes because he gets inspired by this focus on Śrīla Prabhupāda. This is the, I think, fundamental difference, is we're focusing on Prabhupada as the center of the topic, the center of the understanding that we all have. And of course, in other circumstances where people are present, they have particular reasons for it. One, they might want to represent themselves as some great speaker, that they know all these verses and they know about the pastimes of Krishna, whatever their motives are, like as I see them, and myself by witnessing them. I mentioned earlier, I saw a talk by an ISKCON guru, very prominent person. I guess he's doing quite big. And he was talking about the use of surgical masks. He spent 40 minutes on it. The use of masks that are used to deal with this pandemic, where the governments have implemented, as all of you know, these rules and regulations for socializing in the society. Okay. Did he mention Prabhupada once in the talk? No. Was it scriptural references that he was using? No, it was simply his opinion. Everybody has an opinion and everybody has a right to speak that opinion. But for us, our main business is to repeat Prabhupada, to repeat our experiences with Prabhupada if we had them directly, and share them with other people, share them with other Prabhupada disciples. And our main purpose is to encourage people to take up the process of Sankirtan mission under Prabhupada's instructions and directions. So everything is Prabhupada based. Yaśodā-nandana or Gorvani in Hare Krishna. You have a question?
Hare Krishna, my respectful obeisances to everyone.
Thank you.
And yes, I would like to share with you some other thing that Prabhupada says about the chanting of the holy name. When he says that maybe
Please.
no one is inclined to read the books, but we have the holy name and we have only to hear the name, because the process of chanting is just listening and being absolute the Lord. When we hear the holy name attentively, we are with the Lord and with Prabhupada too, because Vaishnava always has at the lotus feet of the Lord. So, and yes, and another point in the famous purport that he gives about the chanting, when he says that no required intellectual adjustment and no mental speculation and intellectual adjustment, just listening. So this was the point, that even those that are not inclined to read books, if they chant the holy name, because it's so powerful that the Lord can cleaning up the knowledge that will come about our real nature of eternal living being. That's all. Thank you for the attention. Haribol.
Well spoken.
Krishna. Go ahead, Venkat.
Yeah, there were two questions on YouTube by Balaram Prabhu. The first one was, how can weeds be stronger than the plant of devotion and the holy name? So
Can you repeat that?
yeah, the question was,
Can you please repeat that?
how can weeds be stronger than the plant of devotion and the holy name? Because you mentioned that we should be mindful of weeds growing, and in the garden, or I think Vishwakarma Prabhu mentioned that.
Well, this is part of the process that is recommended in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the conversations between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami regarding the growth of the Bhaktilata Bij. When you look at all these purports, there's a lot of advice and warnings by Śrīla Prabhupāda based upon the teachings of his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur, to be very careful in how to cultivate that seed of bhakti. And Prabhupada also mentioned that if one is not fortunate to receive the seed of bhakti from the Guru, instead he cultivates the social bij, the political bij, or the philanthropic bij, or karma bij, or jnana bij. Bij means seed. So one cannot just take it for granted that just because I've met the bona fide spiritual master, automatically that I got the seed of bhakti. Yeah, you get the seed of bhakti if you follow the instruction. If one does not follow the instruction, or neglects the instructions, or invents or fabricates new instructions, then it's a different kind of seed that they'll be cultivating. Just like I've been mentioning, that this point is very important because some people, I don't know if they have the intellectual maturity or the devotional capacity to have a virile discussion, a virile intellectual discussion about the meaning of bhakti and the proper process of bhakti. Just like Prabhupada has given so many instructions in his books, not to manufacture, not to concoct, not to invent, but yet we see right now, as we speak, people doing kirtan and inventing mantras, inventing new ways of dancing, some kind of gypsy dancing nonsense, and they think there is nothing wrong with this. Well, this is not bhakti. This is something else. Bhakti means you have to follow the path of the acharyas, the path that is given by the acharyas, not talk for 45 minutes about a medical mass. That has nothing to do with bhakti. That is something else. That is some mundane topic. So those people who claim that we are blaspheming or criticizing, they're ignorant. Ignorant. Tamasima Jyotirgamaya. Come out of the darkness and go to the light and understand the science as given by Prabhupada. That point about Jiva Goswami, as much as I appreciate what he's saying, and as much as we are lowly creatures, after all, Chanakya Pandit advises that one should take the gold out of the mud, and we don't claim, surely not, trying to present ourselves as great preachers or great devotees. That is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to focus on Śrīla Prabhupada and how he has given that seed of bhakti to everybody. And this nonsense, poisonous philosophy that because people have not physically met Prabhupada, they have no access, that is rascaldom, that is poison. Don't believe it. Prabhupada did not present this nonsense. He lives forever by his divine instruction, and the follower lives with him. That is the first instruction Prabhupada is given in the beginning of Bhagavatam, before any other purport, any other lecture, any other details that he is given in the whole Bhagavatam. And they can't even understand that. How difficult is it to comprehend? Not difficult. It only is difficult if somebody is infected with the pod problem. Well, somebody may say, what is he talking about? Yasoda, what are you talking about? What is the pod problem? Pod, P-A-D, not P-A-D-A, not the Prabhupada Anti-Defamation Association. That is a different topic. P-A-D, profit, adoration, and distinction. These are the greatest problems in this movement, especially for those who pretend that they've been appointed as acharyas by the Founder-Ācārya of this movement, and this voting, this nonsense, unauthorized voting system. Then there's problem of understanding what is bhakti, what is the proper chanting, what is the proper process. It's not difficult to understand. It's simple, very simple. Hare Krishna. Yes, Vishwakarma Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I wanted to further discuss with our group about some of the new approaches that are being concocted by the so-called leaders of Prabhupada's mission. For example, post-Prabhupada books. Post-Prabhupada books. What does the person mean by that? Well, it means that the books that Prabhupada wrote are outdated. They have no relevance to current state of affairs that exist in the world. Outdated. This is not the correct understanding of our philosophy. In fact, the philosophy is that Prabhupada, I've read that letter, you should just read my books and repeat what I say. And in this way, you'll be properly representing the disciplic succession of Lord Chaitanya. This way you'll be potent. Recently, I've also been aware of these new preaching techniques that are being used by the ISKCON gurus, for example. And I think many of you are on Facebook, you'll see these. It's being used by a devotee out in the West Coast. And this is how he presents his motivational speech for the morning. I'll paraphrase it. Now he's got quite a few disciples. He used to be a very big book distributor. He distributed a lot of books. Now he's canceled the original books of Prabhupada for distribution, and all they do is distribute these books that have been edited. And then he goes like this, I'll paraphrase it. Okay, when you get up in the morning, the first thing you should do is say, I'm going to have a good day today. And put a smile on your face and jump out of bed and be happy. And it'll make you live your life the way you were meant to live. Thank you very much. Now I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching this, and you'll see some of these videos. They're prolific on the internet. He's trying to become another Tony Robbins, this motivational speaker from America, who's giving instructions to people in general how to have a better life with no substance, nothing in it. And this is going on in the name of the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya. It is absolutely deviant in its approach. And it's a very sad state of affairs that we've reached. Another quick point, and some of you may not be aware, but in Toronto years ago, back on Gerrard Street, it was a really, we lived in a house with 50 devotees. It was quite ecstatic, actually. I mean, there were 18 men living up on the third floor in 2 rooms. We had 1 bathroom with no shower. We used to take, we get up for morning arti. It was everyone, we'd have to get up at 3:15 in the morning to get to the arti at 4:15 because 18 men had to get a shower. Now, it's a little tough to do that. Plus, it was also the washroom with the toilet, lavatory. And so not only did we have to get a shower, we had to go through all of the rest of the rituals of getting up, and getting ready. We would go downstairs to the temple room, and the temple room, we had 50 devotees in a living room. We had an altar at the front of the living room. If you see the pictures, it's quite beautiful, fabulous. With Radha Gopinath, Kirchor Gopinath at the front, Jagannath Swami, and Gaura deities we got from Sudama. He had given us these wooden Gaura deities. And we would line up on each side of the temple room. And men on one side, the ladies on the other side, the women, Matajis. And we would have kirtan. And believe me, Prabhus, the kirtans that we generated, I think Aprakrita had come to them at some particular time, were ecstatic. They were absolutely transcendental experiences for everybody that was in the room. Because the room was small, we were all dancing back and forth, doing the Swami step. There were no harmoniums playing away, no pandal tent. people sitting down for hours with their eyes closed, chanting. It was the Swami step, people dancing back and forth in unison, and everybody chanting the traditional names of Krishna according to the melodies that Prabhupada recommended for us, the morning tune, the evening tune, not this Ramo, Ramo, not this kind of concoction that's going on. And it's taken away the life of the Sankirtan movement. It's absolutely unfortunate. And I'm very sorry for us that we're all separated like this and we couldn't all get together someday. Maybe we'll have a convention in the future, Prabhupada Disciple Convention, and at one location, and we come together as a group of devotees, worshiping our Guru together and enjoying the bliss of the transcendental chanting of the holy name, the way Prabhupada taught us and the way we want to practice it moving forward. Vinkat Prabhu, please make a comment.
Well, I don't really have any comment. Kind of put me on the spot. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Well, and there is one more question by Balaram Prabhu on YouTube. So if you want, I can ask that.
Please. That was an excellent question from him. Thank you,
Okay.
Balaram, by the way.
Okay. The next question was, can fact finding also be fault finding? So,
Can fact finding be fault finding?
yeah.
Well, fault finding, let's look at the term fault finding. It's like Prabhupada uses the example of a moon, the moon shining, and from the moon, there may appear to be some spots on the moon. So what happens is you're looking only at the spots instead of seeing the moon. So this is the idea of fault finding, that a person may be doing so many good things, but the other person has, all they can do is see the faults in what the other person's doing or what the group is doing. They're just looking at the faults. Whereas facts are different than fault finding. It's like you can use the example of the court, in the court of law. They do not look at circumstantial evidence when they're discussing an issue. They look at the facts. And from the facts, they determine whether the person killed the other person or didn't kill the other person. In our particular situation, we're dealing with the deviations that are going on in the society right now and whether or not they're supported by Prabhupada's preaching, his instructions, and by his supported by the scriptures, which are the law books. So fact finding is based on Prabhupada's facts, his facts. If he says that the way to chant is this way, and if everybody else is chanting it differently, that's not fault finding, that's fact finding. For example, I'm sorry for explaining this, but I was in India. Yaśodā was there at the same time, and there was a kirtan competition going on. And Prabhupada, I didn't attend the competition. The Toronto Temple didn't enter the competition. And I was up in the big building where Prabhupada was living. I was sitting there, and then I heard that Prabhupada wanted it to stop because it became concocted. In other words, people were chanting mantras that he didn't want to hear. So in a practical way, I had firsthand experience of Prabhupada stepping in and correcting people. Don't chant this way, chant that way. This is fact finding based on experience of association with Śrīla Prabhupada in Mayapur Dham. He was very strict about how to do things and how not to do things. And you can be rest assured that he would correct his disciples when they started to deviate for whatever reasons it was in their minds. Remember, we're new devotees in a relative sense. We are all new devotees, neophytes. And we always have to carefully guard against deviation. And the deviation is exposed when we don't follow Prabhupada's instructions. That is, Prabhupada's instructions are the facts. And other things, that's mental speculation. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
One thing is, fact finding means that one has to discern, one has to discriminate between what is correct, what is incorrect, what is bona fide, what is not bona fide, what is according to the instruction of the spiritual master, and what is not according to the instruction of the spiritual master. And this process requires a patient, very detailed approach. It is not a sentimental, foolish approach. So the very fact that one is trying to ascertain the facts doesn't mean that it's an envious criticism. No, it's ascertaining the fact to increase our understanding of what is proper devotional service. Just like I keep repeating this point about some people in that organization that are inventing mantras. They're concocting mantras which are not given by Śrīla Prabhupada. They're not given by acharyas or in the Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavata, anywhere. So is that fault finding? I don't think it is. It is asserting the fact that this particular practice is not according to the instruction and teachings of the spiritual master. When this issue came up in 1976 at Mayapur at different kirtan competitions, Prabhupada gave an instruction. Kirtan is meant for the pleasure of the deities, for the satisfaction of the deities. Go do kirtan in front of Krishna, in front of Radha Madhava, and do kirtan there. It is not a show bottle competition like some kind of a rock star. No, that is not how Prabhupada taught us how to do kirtan. Everybody knows that this movement, we had great kirtan leaders like Vishnu Jan, Madhvisa, Guru Kripa, Dinanath, so many great kirtan leaders. But we were taught, we were giving the instruction by His Divine Grace Prabhupada to do kirtan in front of the deities for the satisfaction or pleasure of the deities. Now they have a different philosophy. It's like some kind of a show bottle competition. Why? Where did he get these ideas from? Where did he invent these mantras from? And if some people don't have the intellectual capacity to have these discussions, maybe they should just go chant Hare Krishna somewhere and don't bother to discuss anything. Or maybe just read without discuss anything. Someday something may click right. But Prabhupada expected us to hear, study his books, and discuss from all angles of vision. There's no room for personal animosity or envious criticism. This is not what this group is all about. If somebody thinks that this is what we're doing, they're mistaken. They have not correctly understood. We wish them well, but they have to open their minds, open their hearts. There's no need for enviousness or personal attacks or fabrication or misrepresenting what somebody else is saying. Why? We're not trying to defeat anybody or embarrass anybody. That is not what we're trying to. We're trying to focus on Śrīla Prabhupada and present his teachings as they are. That's why before, in the beginning of every class, we say we are reading from the original non-adulterated books. Is that a criticism? Is that an envious criticism? No, it's a fact. Those who are reading from the adulterated literatures, they have to stop adulterating the books. Simple, not complicated. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I noticed by my clock that we've moved past our program schedule, so we're going to come to the end of today's very enlivening session with all of you. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. You're the people that make the difference in bringing about a better understanding amongst all of us of our philosophy of Krishna consciousness. It's and the teachings of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And we do apologize from our group if sometimes we do not have the best production or the best answers for you. We are trying our best to please our Guru with this effort, and I hope that in the future it will become better and better as we move along in our efforts to spread the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, our bona fide spiritual master. Prabhu, could you please bring on your beautiful kirtan, and we'll celebrate the kirtan together. Maybe some day in the future, we'll all get together and have a wonderful kirtan and feast and glorify Prabhupada together in personal association in Krishna consciousness. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us pay our obeisances to the assembled Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpa, Tarubhyascha,
Arubhyascha, Kripa
Kripa
Sindhubhyevascha,
Sindhubhya Patitanam
Titanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo,
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.